I would guess that if nobody had ever told me I was adopted, I would have figured it out before too long. From the time I was very young, I realized I was different. I didn't quite fit in. I didn't believe the same things that the rest of the family seemed to believe and take for granted. I didn't do the things that others did in the natural way they seemed to do them. I didn't get hooked on the behavior patterns built on guilt and shame, which was a great frustration for those who were trying to control and manipulate me. It just didn't work. As I grew older, in fact, much older, I realized that this was the source of much of the conflict between my mother and I. I was different, and she didn't know what to do with that. I remember our conversations, or the monologue that would happen in the midst of discipline or conflict. It usually went like this: Who do you think you are? Do you think you're better than we are? Where did you get all this uppityness? This better than we are kind of stuff. I had no clue where it came from or that it was even happening. I was just being me, which was obviously different. It wasn't until I met my biological mom last year that I realized how different it was. We're living in different times, and the differences between us are being exaggerated and pushed to the limits by the conditions that we are facing. I hear again and again and again these days, I don't feel like I belong. I feel like an outsider. I feel like a foreigner. Whether it's how we are dealing with COVID and the regulations, whether it's our political stances, whether it's our life in the church, whether it's family, or community, or school. Almost every aspect of our lives seems to have been changed, leaving us feeling very uncomfortable, very much ill at ease, diseased, outsiders, like we don't belong. I've heard this from ultra conservatives and from left wing liberals. I have heard it especially from those of us who struggle to maintain some kind of middle ground in a political world that seems hell-bent on destroying the middle. I hear it in the evangelicals and the mainline church. I hear it in progressives and conservatives. I hear it among the rich and the poor, and especially those who struggle in the middle class. I hear it among males and females. I hear it among the young and the old. I hear it among the gay and the straight, the black and the white, the brown and the yellow. There is not a single aspect of life that has not seemed to be speaking those words these days. We are all feeling out of bounds. We are all feeling left out by a world that seems to be going somewhere where we don't necessarily want to go. but it seems it's going there anyway. We are foreigners in a foreign land. We are a people very much at disease. When we turn to the pages of Scripture, we find God's people at a time very much like this. Literally, foreigners in a foreign land, in exile in Babylon. It is there, ironically, that they find themselves. Instead of moaning their way through exile, they do some of the most creative and innovative work that is done in their history. In many ways, while they will always go back to the age of David and Solomon as the good old days, the work that they do in exile is the golden age of Judaism. In fact, it is in Babylon, in exile, that Judaism as we know it today got its birth. It is here that much of the solid theology and interpretation of Scripture begins. It is here where Scripture itself is edited and written down. It is here, in this foreign land, this uncharted territory, that they learn to do the work that brings them together, not only as a nation, but as a people. I wonder what would happen to us if we could do such creative and innovative work together. Could we build a new nation, a new church, a new family, a new sense of community, a new way of relating between the races, the genders, the sexual preferences? Could we do such creative work? Could we build a new house that began to look forward into a future that is coming? It will come, whether we like it or not, because it is God's future. And we have a choice. Do we live into this plan of change and innovation and creativity? Or we just get smacked in the face? I guess the choice is ours, and how much we're willing to build, and what we're willing to build. Let us build a house where love can dwell, and all can safely live. A place where saints and children tell how hearts learn to forgive. Built of hope and dreams and visions, rock of faith and vault of grace. Here the love of Christ shall lend divisions. All are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place. Let us build a house where prophets speak and words are strong and true, where all God's children dare to seek to dream God's reign anew. Here the cross shall stand as witness and a symbol of God's grace. Here the one we claim, the faith of Jesus. All are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place. Let us build a house where hands will reach beyond the wood and stone, to heal and strengthen, serve and teach, and live the word they've known. Hear the outcast and the stranger, bear the image of God's face. Let us bring an end to fear and danger. All are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place. Let us build a house where all are named, their songs and visions heard, and loved and treasured, taught and claimed as words within the word. Built of tears and cries and laughter, prayers of faith and songs of grace. Let this house proclaim from floor to rafter, all are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place.